Relieved that Acton wouldn't be a witness if she were indeed to be sick, Doyle crouched down again to study the conduit where the body had been found, while the SOCO examiners began to systematically scrutinize the area in ever-widening circles. She could guess what they would find. Absolutely nothing. For a turf war, there was remarkably little evidence. The scent of decomposition still lingered on the ground, because the body had been there for a time, and she took deep breaths to steady her midsection, annoyed with herself because decomp had never bothered her before. Acton had already known she was pregnant, of course. She should have said something before this, but she was hoping her symptoms were built upon nerves, and not upon the presence of the Honourable whomever, who had been conceived the night his, or her mother, had killed a man, and then accidentally shot herself for good measure. Nothing for it, she thought in resignation. This is exactly why the nuns warned you about sex. Struggling to hide her irritation, she called to the SOCO photographer so as to double-check that the woman had taken some close-ups of the maggot activity on the corpse. Doyle was irritated because the photographer had been emanating equal parts amazement and derision when introduced to Doyle earlier, even though her outward manner had been all that was correct. The general consensus, which Doyle could sense in resounding waves, was that Acton had lost his mind. Nothing for that either, and this was exactly what she deserved, for stepping into the centre ring at the circus. Not that she would change a thing. Best get on with it. The circus was soon to have another act. After hearing the photographer's falsely respectful assurances, Doyle crouched again, unable to shake the feeling that she was missing something here. Acton was right. It was cooler in the conduit, and time of death could more exactly be established by the insect experts, who could opine to a remarkable degree of certainty how long the body had been dead by gauging the life cycles of the various insects feasting on their grisly windfall. The body had no identification on it, but she had little doubt the victim had a record, and they would know who it was very shortly. It was odd that the man had been shot in the face. Ordinarily, a professional did not face his victim. There seemed little doubt this was a professional hit, unless, as Acton had suggested, someone was using the excuse to conduct a little murder on the side. She wondered if he suspected as much. That might explain the shot to the face. It was the work of a non-professional, trying to look like a professional. Leaning back on her heels, she decided she was relieved to have the subject of her pregnancy out in the open, despite the fact that everyone at the Met would be counting to 9 on their fingers. Acton said it was wonderful news, and it was, of course. It was just that she'd spent a rather solitary life. It came with the territory, knowing the things that she knew. Acton had been famously reclusive in his own right, and now the both of them were to make a go at family life when it wasn't in their respective natures. She looked up at the trees, shifting in the breeze. He loves me, she thought, so much that he is willing to put his hand to this particular plough, and I am balking like a donkey at the hitch. Shame on me. In this repentant frame of mind, she managed to greet Williams with good grace when he arrived on the scene. Doyle was conferring with the SOCO team about the dearth of evidence when she spotted him and mustered up a more or less genuine smile. Williams. Doyle, he acknowledged, returning her smile. Williams was several years older than she, tall, blonde, and athletically handsome. He was what her late mother would have deemed proper English, which was not necessarily a compliment. Intelligent and reserved, he was favoured by the powers that be at the CID, which led some lesser beings to criticise him as arrogant. Doyle was not one of them. Williams had been unfailingly kind to her, and although he was a rival for advancement, she considered him a friend. It was true that her faith in him had been shaken a bit.